Hey guys, welcome back to another Q&A. You guys kill it on this series, not only with your awesome questions, but also on that like button as well. The last two Q&As got over 200 likes, well over 200 likes for one of them. So let's see if we can do it again. Let's go for 200 likes, and let's jump straight into those questions. If Enchantress is in Fighter Pack 3, do you think Raven would be a better premier skin for Enchantress rather than Starfire? Absolutely, 100%. As soon as I saw this comment, that made perfect sense. If they do intend to do a Raven premier skin, the better character would absolutely be Enchantress over a character like Starfire, although that means likely Raven probably wouldn't be doing a ton of flying like she does, or she used to float in her old animation if I remember correctly, back in Injustice 1, so she wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think, unless they're going to have Enchantress float. But regardless, they could figure it out and they could make it look awesome, but it's just a question of whether they do want to do a Raven premier skin. I'm leaning towards no. I doubt we're going to get a returning character as a premier skin at this point. If we haven't got one so far, I doubt we're going to get one now. If we get MK characters in Injustice 3, can they just be in the mobile game? This kind of points out something that I really don't like that happens in the community. Because you're a DC fan, you immediately say that you don't want characters like Mortal Kombat characters in Injustice, but there's plenty of Mortal Kombat fans out there that want these characters in Injustice. You gotta be a little bit sympathetic, you gotta use your empathy a little bit. These are fans of the Mortal Kombat franchise, and for 2 whole years, they don't get access to a new Mortal Kombat game because Injustice is the main game. So throwing them a bone and putting in a couple of MK characters here and there is something really nice that NetherRealm gets to do, and even for somebody like me who's not necessarily a Mortal Kombat fan, it's a way for me to experience that world that I won't be able to experience for, again, another 2 years until MK11 comes out. Who would you really want out of these 3 characters? Beast Boy, Plastic Man, and Owlman. For me personally, it would probably end up being Beast Boy. Plastic Man's a cool idea, but I think Beast Boy has a lot more creativity you can do with this kit. At the end of the day, NetherRealm will be able to make an awesome character regardless of which one of these characters they picked. NetherRealm's really good at coming up with unique and interesting gameplay for each of their characters. For me, it kind of just comes down to just Beast Boy being the most interesting character of the 3. Plastic Man, I'm sure, could have some pretty awesome animations, but I think because of a combination of Beast Boy's potential animations, the community's passion for the character, I would have to pick Beast Boy. What moveset do you think Damian should have in Injustice 3? The Robin, the Nightwing, a mix of the two, or a new one? Consider the possibility of the Titans leaving the Phantom Zone and Red Robin being in the new game. Oh, 100%. I don't think that we're actually going to get Damian in Injustice 3. We saw this happen with Injustice 1, we had Dick Grayson, and then we didn't have Dick Grayson in Injustice 2. I think there's going to be kind of a cycle where we get Dick Grayson in Injustice 1, Damian in Injustice 2, and Red Robin in Injustice 3. There'll probably be some type of premier skin or whatever to have Damian be in the game, or maybe even Dick Grayson be in the game, or maybe they'll just have both. Maybe they'll have Damian and Red Robin, but I think what's more likely is that we're going to have this cycle of Robins. I think there'll always be a Robin in the game, whether it be Nightwing, Red Robin, or, you know, Damian's Robin. If I had to pick a specific moveset for Damian to keep, I really like the Robin moveset a lot, so probably just the Robin one that's in Injustice 2 right now. Do you think that we'll get Killer Croc as a playable character? At this point, I'm going to go ahead and say no. Killer Croc, whilst being a very cool character, and he is a stage transition, which I originally used as evidence to say that he wouldn't be in the game, but now it could be theoretically used as evidence that he will be in the game, because Black Manta obviously has his own stage transition, but at this point, I don't think Killer Croc is going to make the cut. We know that in Fighter Pack 3, there's going to be a female character, or at least it's looking like there's going to be a female character. We know that there's going to be Adam, and Ed Boon says the 3rd character is going to be a massive shock. None of us are going to see it coming, apparently, and I don't think Killer Croc is that character. Do you think Pennywise will be a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11, and what guest character would you want? I do think Pennywise will be a DLC character in MK11. It just makes sense. Pennywise is a very popular character. The new It movie did really, really well. They're probably going to do a part 2 fairly soon. Well, not necessarily fairly soon, but around the same time as MK11. It just kind of makes sense. And as far as other guest characters that I'd like to see, I don't know. I think it would be pretty interesting to do a character from the DC world, but obviously it would need to fit the Mortal Kombat universe. Maybe somebody like Joker. It would just be nice, right? The same logic that we use to get Mortal Kombat characters in Injustice can be used to get Injustice characters or DC characters in Mortal Kombat. There's a ton of DC fans that have to wait 2 years for the next Injustice game, so why not throw us a bone and have one of the DLC characters, or maybe even 2 of the DLC characters as, you know, DC characters. What other games are you considering putting on this channel after Injustice 2? I'm honestly not sure. It feels kind of strange posting other games because I built my community in Injustice 2 and I still am very passionate about Injustice 2. I play Injustice 2 every single day because I do love the game, and it would be a little bit disrespectful to just randomly switch up the game on my channel. That being said, I've been thinking about starting up a second channel. This would be for Hearthstone related content. If you're interested in subscribing to that, you can go ahead and click the link at the top of the description linking you to my Hearthstone Hearthstone channel. Again, there's no content on it right now, but that's something that I'm probably going to end up posting on in the near future, maybe starting next week, and I'll talk about it a little bit more then. But if you're interested in supporting me, go subscribe to that channel, especially if you're interested in Hearthstone content. El Diablo Premier Skin for Sub-Zero. To be clear, I do not think this will happen. I don't think an El Diablo skin is coming to the game, but of all the characters that have been recommended as an El Diablo Premier Skin, Sub-Zero is actually the best one. A ton of people have mentioned characters like Firestorm, which I think is a very obvious pick, but doesn't end up actually working because Firestorm floats off of the ground. El Diablo does not do that. Having El Diablo be a Premier Skin for Sub-Zero can work perfectly because you can do that same type of effect manipulation we saw with Bizarro and his freeze effect instead being a kind of molten lava thing. You can do that with Sub-Zero, you can replace his clones with molten lava. Everything he does can be replaced with theoretical fire effects. I would love to see this happen, but I'm not expecting it anytime soon. Do you think after Fighter Pack 3, they will still release a few new characters, maybe not included with the Ultimate Edition? I highly doubt it. I might make a separate video about this in the future explaining exactly why, but it just doesn't make sense to release another Fighter Pack. It's possible, but I'm not holding my breath. If Constantine is added to the game, would you want Matt Ryan to voice him? Absolutely, 100%. Matt Ryan is the best person to play Constantine so far. He did a fantastic job in his one season of a live-action show. The reason that show was cancelled was not because of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan did an excellent job and deserves a ton of respect for what he did. He has his own animated show coming up pretty soon that's going to be on CW Seed, which is kind of like their developmental territory as far as I can tell. So that's kind of cool. He's going to get an animated series. I'm not sure how long that one's going to last. The Vixen has her own animated series as well on CW. Not only that, but his character Constantine is actually going to be on DC Legends of Tomorrow Season 3. That's the season that's airing right now. And Matt Ryan's obviously going to be reprising his role as Constantine. So hopefully that means that Constantine has an extra chance of being an Injustice, but I don't think so. But here's hoping that if he does show up in the game, Matt Ryan will be voicing him. I'm absolutely 100% sure he'd be willing to do it. He seems very passionate about the character. Every time I've heard him talked about it, he seems to be in love with the character just as much as I am, so Matt Ryan seems like an obvious pick. If the gear system does transition into Mortal Kombat 11, what do you think would make it better? What changes do you think will be made to it? I'm not going to make predictions on what NetherRealm is going to change about it because it's very difficult to make changes like that because you have to kind of psychoanalyze everything that NetherRealm does. But what I would change about it is somehow incorporate it into competitive gameplay, or at least aspects of it. I wouldn't incorporate the raw gear system that we have now because obviously there's a lot of randomness in what you end up getting, but maybe do something with the variation system we had in MKX and have different variations available on every single character. Let's say there's 3 variations and those variations are made up of different gear abilities that you can get in the game, but it's only available in the competitive game mode. I think that would be something interesting they can do because it would be a combination of the variation system and the gear system. It would just be a way for people to get a little bit more variety out of the ranked game mode. Where did you come up with the name Bilbsy? Well, Bilbsy was actually my very first online name. I used a few other different online names, but when I made my Injustice channel, I wanted to go back to Bilbsy as it was my very first ever online name. Do you think Dr. Manhattan could work as a premier skin for Adam since he can manipulate his size and such, and has been teased by Ed Boon on Twitter? Well, lots of characters have been teased by Ed Boon on Twitter, and a lot of them haven't shown up at the game, and a lot of them have shown up at the game in all fairness as well. That being said, I don't think Dr. Manhattan is comparable to Adam, despite the fact that obviously the size manipulation is there. I don't think they would throw away Dr. Manhattan as an Adam premier skin. Do you think tag team could work in Injustice 3? I hope so. I hope this is something they want to start moving towards, because something that's fundamentally lacking from fighting games in general is the ability to play with friends. Obviously, you can verse friends, but a lot of people are pretty egotistical when it comes to games. So when you create only a versus environment, it's very hard to play with a friend without either yourself getting pretty upset that they're better than you, or they might get upset that you're better than them. The thing about a fighting game is that the better player almost all the time win. Obviously at super high level play, people who belong in tournaments, there's a little bit of variation in there where not always the best player will win because the skill level is so equal. But in general, the better player often wins, so it just kind of creates for a very frustrating environment if you verse the same person over again. Where if you had a tag system, I would be able to play with my friends who I know aren't very good at the game, and eventually they would slowly learn the game as they play with me. They would get a lot better because we'll end up in situations where we can go into training mode and I can go, hey look, you could have done this combo in this situation, and then we could have won that round. I think it's a really interesting system. I wouldn't go like full-on tag mode like Marvel vs. Capcom, but do like a 2v2 system where instead of having 2 health bars, after 1 health bar is gone, your teammate teammate comes in. Because again, I think a cooperative experience is something that is lacking in fighting games in general, but specifically in Injustice. Hopefully this is something that NetherRealm is willing to look into moving forward, both in Mortal Kombat and in Injustice. If there is a fighter pack 4, what 2 characters would you want? I know one is Vibe, and that's why I said 2. Obviously, you guys know Vibe is one of my favorite characters in DC right now, and I would love to see him in Injustice too, so I'd like to see Beast Boy. Even though I'm not particularly a Beast Boy fan, it's something that would make the community very happy, and I would be interested to see what his animations look like. And again, if we're assuming this is some type of dream fighter pack, I would also like to see Vixen, even though she's currently a Premier skin. I think there's so many different directions you could take the character that you couldn't do with obviously a cheetah Premier skin. I think in particular her trait could be quite interesting if you're not aware of how her powers work. Basically she takes on different powers based on what animal she's channeling at the time. So you could have her trait make her kind of more of a tanky character while she's on like a gorilla form or whatever, and then you could have her switch to like a tiger or something and she's much more aggressive and does a lot of damage. And then you can have her switch to like a bird which gives her an air dash. All of a sudden she becomes this kind of mix-up character with like flight cancel stuff. I don't know, I imagine this kind of crazy kit for Vixen, and I would imagine NetherRealm would be able to pull that off if you gave them enough time. Wow, so that's it for questions. Thank you guys for all the awesome questions in this episode. I think we had quite a few really good questions. If you do want your question answered in the next episode, leave a comment down below with the hashtag Q&A, and I'll be sure to get to your question. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Mabilbzy, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.
Holy mackerel.